Good day, everyone, and welcome to the webinar highlighting the Knowledge Exchange Centre for the Mental Health Commission of Canada. So just a quick review of our agenda today. First, we'll be introducing the team, and then we'll be moving into the concept of knowledge exchange, and then we're going to discuss the projects of the KEC and looking specifically at what work we are leading. Just as important, we're also going to be reviewing how we support other initiatives within the Commission. We will also have a discussion on our past projects and understand also how our team is actually supported. So a couple of housekeeping items. We want to make sure that you're asking your questions and making your comments in the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. So please do ask all your questions and type your comments to all participants. That's all participants and not all attendees. That way we can actually monitor your questions and make sure that they're answered throughout the presentation. And then that way we can talk as we go along. So let's get started on some introductions. My name is Samantha Kolopak, and I am a knowledge broker with the Knowledge Exchange Centre, or what many of us lovingly call as the KEC. Nicholas Waters is also here with me today. He'll be co-hosting this webinar. Welcome, Nicholas.
Thanks, Sam. It's a pleasure to be here today to speak more about the Knowledge Exchange Centre.
Great. So Nicholas is actually the director of the KEC and has been since 2012. Next, what I'd like to go over is our team. Our team is actually made up of 16 staff members, and we work on everything from research to knowledge creation to knowledge dissemination. And this is the largest team within the Mental Health Commission of Canada. We actually spread ourselves across 2 offices. That's one in Calgary, where we're broadcasting live from today, as well as Ottawa. We wanted to hear from all of our team, and since we're so large, we just decided that we would be incorporating some audio clips for you today.
Thanks for introducing the team, Sam. This next slide is a visual representation on how the Knowledge Exchange Centre is embedded into all of the work at the Mental Health Commission. The Mental Health Commission truly understands and values knowledge exchange and simply will not allow our products and tools to sit on a shelf.
Great. So I thought a great way to start off today would be to ask the audience, everybody in the audience, whether or not you know what the term knowledge exchange means. So what we're going to be doing today is polling throughout the presentation, so please let us know how that's going, and let's open the polls now. So please let us know what you think knowledge exchange means. Wow, it looks like we're getting quite a few results here. Just going to keep on looking at the results for a little bit longer, get your answers in. Okay, I'm going to close that poll now. And I'm just going to let everybody see those answers in a little bit. And what we're going to do is actually talk about what the term knowledge exchange means. And let's just show those results. Thanks for your patience. Sometimes our technology takes a little bit of time. There we go. And so it looks like a lot of you actually do know what the term means, but there's quite a few also who haven't heard about all of the details. So let's turn to understand what knowledge exchange is. So Nicholas, often as a knowledge broker, I know that we get asked the question, what is knowledge exchange? Can you walk us through this term?
Sure, Sam. Simply put, knowledge exchange is a symmetrical conversation, also sometimes referred to as a bidirectional conversation. This is a key principle of the Knowledge Exchange Centre. Knowledge translation is also another term used for this and is popular international. The MHCC has adopted the Canadian Institutes of Health Research CIHR definition of knowledge exchange and translation, but added a mental health focus. The KEC makes consulting and collaborating with people with lived experience of a mental illness a priority in this process. A participatory approach to creating knowledge is important for improving health outcomes and healthcare systems. The KEC's approach to knowledge exchange, therefore, involves the active engagement of all stakeholders and knowledge users, including researchers, decision makers, families, caregivers, and the general public. This collaboration is emphasized in all of the Knowledge Exchange Center's work, as it directly involves each of these stakeholder groups in developing and implementing our findings. The KEC is also guided by 3 directions: synthesizing knowledge, so researching, synthesizing, and evaluating evidence in order to leverage evidence-based and best and promising practices in mental health; facilitating knowledge exchange, so the development and implementation of mechanisms and tools to share resources, evidence-based knowledge, best and promising practices, and innovations in mental health; and building capacity, so providing expertise and training that improves the capacity of stakeholders to routinely adopt knowledge exchange practices. And you'll hear examples of all 3 of those today during the presentation. A bit of historical context on the Knowledge Exchange Center. The KEC was first proposed by the Standing Senate Committee report, Out of the Shadows at Last. It was envisioned to build a capacity by facilitating electronic access to information and to technical assistance for people affected by mental illness and their families. The KEC was formally launched in 2009 based on research which has developed the current Activated Knowledge Exchange Framework model. And you'll see from that definition, the Knowledge Exchange Center has developed over the years and has become more of a robust center.
Awesome. So Nicholas just mentioned the Activated Knowledge Exchange Framework, and that's what I want to show you today. So on your screen, you can see a diamond graphic, which shows the different stakeholders who are typically involved in the healthcare knowledge exchange. As Nicholas said, it's really crucial to include and consider the full range of stakeholders. So on your diagram here, you'll see policymaker, on the left-hand screen, caregiver, at the bottom of your screen, other stakeholders, on the right-hand side of your screen, provider and researcher, with persons with lived experience of mental illness in the center. So conversations, again, may involve only 2 stakeholders holding a dialogue, or it could be a group of stakeholders meeting to discuss a particular topic in a broader spectrum. So here you can see that this model has been used to create a kind of practical guide to knowledge exchange in healthcare, and that is actually what we call innovation to implementation, or also called the eye to eye. And Nicholas will actually walk us through that process next.
Our eye to eye, or innovation to implementation, how-to guide, lays out a very structured process to help create, implement, and evaluate knowledge exchange plans. It is most helpful for driving change using knowledge exchange activities, some of which we will review in the upcoming slide. It is built around the concept of innovation, products, actions, services, or relationships that have the potential to enhance health outcomes. This diagram shows how to move from innovation to implementation and achieve the desired outcomes of a project or initiative. This cycle that you see here will be revamped, and evaluation will be brought into the center circle to ensure that the importance of evaluating the process of knowledge exchange, not just the outcomes, will be released shortly.
Excellent. So now we're going to walk through with Nicholas a little bit about how the Knowledge Exchange Center fits into Canada. And while he talks to you, I'm going to poll the audience.
Great, thanks, Sam. So we engage a diverse community of stakeholders across the country. We draw on expertise of mental health professionals and persons with lived experience, both in person and digitally. We support networks, we promote research, we host webinars, we facilitate roundtables, we organize conferences, and we reach out via our digital platforms. So you can see a map there. Just because it says promoting research in one area and hosting webinars in others doesn't mean it's specific to that context. We do all of those across Canada and most times internationally as well.
Excellent. So I can see right now we're getting a ton of answers coming in, and it looks like all of you are getting it right. Pretty much if you answered any of those letters on your screen, that's correct. But really the best answer is all of the above, because we do all of this great work. So thanks so much for participating. Okay, so next we're going to turn to what we do in the Knowledge Exchange Center. And we work on a lot of different kinds of activities. And what we're going to do is actually look at what work we're leading now, and then, as I said in the introduction, we'll be looking at some of the work we're also supporting. So let's hear from Liz first, and she's going to talk to us about the SPARK initiative, supporting the promotion of activated research and knowledge workshop. So let's hear from Liz.
Hello, my name is Liz Wickfull, and I'm a knowledge broker working in the Ottawa office. I lead on the SPARK training program and knowledge exchange. SPARK helps researchers, service providers, and people who work in policy to push out new research and best practices in mental health with the intent to improve the mental health of all Canadians. The components of SPARK include an annual hands-on and interactive training workshop where about 36 participants come together to learn the basics of knowledge exchange and practical ways to implement a knowledge exchange plan. The workshop is followed by real-world assignments where participants put their learnings into practice when they return back to their organizations. They're supported every step of the way by a group of experienced mentors, all of whom have completed the SPARK program themselves. The program offers the opportunity for participants to network and build strong connections with each other in person and online, and many fruitful collaborations have been a result of people meeting through this program. So far, 79 participants have completed the SPARK program in the first 2 years. This year's workshop will be held in Winnipeg in June with 36 new participants from across the country.
Fantastic. So as Liz was speaking about, SPARK is a great initiative, and it looks like we have a lot of Sparkies online. I'd love it if everybody could sort of identify if you are a SPARK participant or have been in the past. I'm just waiting to show the poll results for our last poll, and mostly everybody got that correct. So yes, it will be in Winnipeg, and we are very much looking forward to that. So next we're going to turn to Jennifer Dodgen, and she is leading the data project. So let's hear from her and what she thinks about the data project.
Hi there, I'm Jennifer Dodgen, manager of the data project. The data project is an exciting project based on the mental health strategy for Canada's Changing Directions, Changing Lives. This outlines a strategy for improved mental health data collection, research, and knowledge exchange across Canada. The project seeks to create mental health and mental illness indicators to serve as a foundation for evidence-informed mental health policy and practice in Canada. The indicators will include a mix of population health and systems performance measures. It will help to sustain a focus on key strategic issues identified by the mental health strategy, and it will also allow stakeholders to gauge and monitor progress. It may also identify gaps in our current surveillance. The project will be wrapping up in December of this year and will be reported on in a technical report, a dashboard report, and it will be accompanied by a knowledge exchange strategy.
Okay, excellent. So this diagram is just showing us what the data project is entailing. And I'm sorry if anybody's having some audio difficulties. It should be playing the audio clip. So if you're having any problems, please let us know, and then perhaps we'll just take over and sort of let you know about the projects in person between Nicholas and myself. So thank you so much for the feedback. Okay, so turning next, Nicholas, maybe we could talk a little bit about how we support and lead networks.
Great. So the next slide will be showing you a few of the networks we both support and lead within the Knowledge Exchange Center. First, the Advisory Council, which is made up of 16 individuals across the country with expertise in certain aspects of mental health. They provide strategic leadership and direction for the Mental Health Commission. They engage in our strategic initiatives and provide content expertise, guidance on key elements of the mental health landscape, and also at times communicate on behalf of the Mental Health Commission by accepting appropriate opportunities to discuss the work. The next is the Ambassador Network, which is created to address and demand for the public for more information. They're more of a group that helps the Commission disseminate the work of the MHCC, as well as take a pulse of Canada as a whole. We have members from across the country, so it's great if we can send a survey to them every once in a while and get information back that's a subset of the Canadian population. The Youth Council are currently comprised of 12 youth experts from across the country that engage other youth mental health networks, but also participate in projects within the MHCC and represent the youth voice for the Commission. They are currently working on a youth-friendly version of the mental health strategy. The International Knowledge Exchange Network for Mental Health, or ICANMH, was jointly envisioned by the Mental Health Commission and the International Initiative for Mental Health Leadership. It's comprised of 10 experts in mental health from 8 different countries, and the overall goal is to reduce the time from innovation to implementation to improve population mental health. This is done by way of webinars, journal articles, case studies, and in-person meetings. The next in-person meeting of this group is June 9th and 10th in Sweden as part of the International Initiative on Mental Health Leadership Conference.
Excellent. So now we're going to look at our digital platforms, and we're going to hear from Tommy and Sarah.
Hello, my name is Tommy Nguyen, manager of the digital team in the Knowledge Exchange Center. I provide the overall direction on strategic areas of focus for the MHCC's digital platforms. I support my team in the formulation and execution of this strategy based on what we collectively feel is going to have the most benefit and impact on engagement from our audience. I gather input from the different roles and skill sets on my team to put forward a roadmap of success and growth in the digital medium. In all aspects of our work, I strive to improve processes for collaborating with other departments that will allow us to work effectively, efficiently, and deliver to the highest quality. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Bradshaw, Digital Communications Specialist with the digital team within the KEC. Our goal for the digital department is to create and disseminate strategic and engaging content to our growing network through multiple digital platforms. We constantly monitor our website and social media, pull and analyze analytics, and make improvements to continuously upgrade our user experience. Specifically, I am responsible for ensuring the strategic approach to how we share, disseminate information, that it is of the highest standards, best practices, and will be of the most value to our audience. This is something that needs to constantly be looked at and evolved for each situation and on all of our digital properties.
So again, the digital team is just talking about their role in providing direction on strategic issues and areas for the digital platforms that are listed on your screen. So there you have YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and we hope that all of you are following our different platforms. Okay, so next we're going to learn about an initiative called Collaborative Spaces, which we're leading.
Hi, I'm Dave Walker, the Community Manager for the Collaborative Spaces on the Commission's website. Collaborative Spaces is a community discussion forum and online repository for mental health topics in Canada. Members of the Collaborative Spaces can share news, videos, research, and articles about mental health, ask mental health-related questions to the community, post events, share personal stories, and connect with others concerned about mental health. The Collaborative Spaces is nearing 1,000 new member sign-ups since the Collaborative Spaces launched in October 2013 and hosts over 440 discussions with 560 comments. Private collaborative spaces have been a very popular feature for the KEC's knowledge brokers and other working groups in the Commission. Several projects, including the Suicide Prevention Steering Council, Spark Training Institute, and the Case Study Research Project, have been using these spaces for communicating with and sharing documents between geographically diverse working groups. The Community Manager plays an important role in the collaborative spaces by posting new discussions and moderating the forums for questionable content and potentially offensive comments. The most important part of the role is to further the discussion by posting thoughtful responses and to build and extend the community by encouraging others to participate. Various tactics are used to build the community, including interaction with the most active members, constant promotion and recruiting through all Commission communications, and sponsoring specialized forums for conferences and working groups. The collaborative spaces remains an important part of the Commission's desire to engage directly with a wide range of stakeholders in mental health in Canada.
So that was Dave that is leading the collaborative spaces. So Dave Walker, thank you so much for submitting your content. So this has been a really great overview of some of the projects that we're leading. And now what we'd like to do is turn to some of the work that we're actually trying to support.
Bonjour, my name is Louise Lapierre and I'm a program manager in the Knowledge Exchange Center. I provide knowledge exchange advice to the Housing and Homelessness Priority Team. As you know, the Atom Chez Soi project is a very important research on the Housing First model. The study generated multiple interesting and useful findings on this topic. The national final report was released in April, and I led the organization of the key event for the national launch. Now, I support the Moncton site and the Moncton site team in the organization of a similar event for the release of the Moncton site final report. I also prepared the knowledge exchange plan for the dissemination of the Canadian Housing First Toolkit. The toolkit will be shortly available on the Commission and on the Homeless Hub websites. Presentation and workshops are also planned, for the fall. You may know that the Commission is responsible to deliver training and technical assistance to communities that want to implement Housing First in their area. I will support these communities by creating linkage and exchange activities, by bringing new knowledge and best practices in the community of practice. Discussions in the collaborative space and webinars will help participants to stay connected together. The researchers involved in the At Home Chez Soi project published many articles in peer-reviewed journals. They remain very active and plan to continue to release many others. They meet on a regular basis to discuss and approve abstracts to be presented to journals. I have the privilege to support this fantastic team. Of course, if you want to know more about the Housing and Homelessness team, please stop on the Commission website. Thank you.
Awesome. So if you want to learn anything more about the housing and homelessness, obviously you can check out the website, and also you should also look into the National Film Board, because there's been a lot of different videos, fantastic videos on housing and homelessness initiatives. So make sure you check out that. So next we're going to learn about the work that's being done in suicide prevention, postvention, and intervention.
Hi, my name is Meg Schellenberg, and I'm a knowledge broker within the KEC. My primary work is focused on suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention. To date, this work has been threefold. Let's examine each of these efforts more closely. First, in order to promote the dissemination, uptake, and exchange of information, we are engaging members of a national collaborative on suicide prevention to promote reciprocal education among members and share this knowledge with our stakeholders. We are also hosting a monthly webinar series that aims to make the link between suicide and mental illness more explicit. We want Canadians to understand the various causes of suicide and its complexity, while increasing levels of comfort and confidence in discussing suicide with those at risk and the general population. Through these efforts, we hope to increase awareness of community and suicide prevention resources and how to access them. Our second aim is to improve the information base for suicide prevention by supporting the creation and acceptance of best evidence. We are achieving this by collecting provincial and territorial data on suicide prevention efforts, sharing crisis intervention training programs at work, and convening with diverse stakeholders who have a vested interest in advancing the research agenda on suicide prevention. Finally, we are developing mechanisms to support promising and best practices in the field by partnering with those who have been involved in suicide prevention over the last few decades. We are looking at organizations like the Canadian Association for Suicide Prevention to implement what they have shown to work and ensure that their efforts are measurable and sustainable well beyond the life of the Commission.
Thank you, Meg, for supporting us. So next, we will talk about the Opening Minds initiative with Nicholas.
Opening Minds is the largest systematic effort in Canadian history focused on reducing stigma related to mental illness. Established by the Mental Health Commission in 2009, it seeks to change Canadians' behaviors and attitudes towards people living with mental illness to ensure they are treated fairly and as full citizens with opportunities to contribute to society like anyone else. Let's hear from the knowledge broker who also works on this file.
Hello, this is Liz Wickful again. One of the Commission's priority areas is Opening Minds, which is an anti-stigma initiative. Research has been done on how to reduce stigma in 4 groups: youth, healthcare professionals, the workforce, and the media. In terms of knowledge exchange, we are rolling out a multi-year plan, and for the moment, we're focusing mostly on youth programs. We've been supporting the Opening Minds youth programs with knowledge exchange activities such as background information sheets, conference research, helping in the development of toolkits, presentations, webinars, and in social media. We're also in the middle of developing a set of online modules for professors and students of journalism schools, which will be piloted in the fall of 2014. These modules aim to raise awareness about the role the media can play in destigmatizing mental illness.
I will now pass it back to Sam so she can discuss her role on the workplace mental health team.
Perfect. And just before I lead into that, my work on the workplace file, I did want to mention that if you have a question today or a comment about any of the work that we're leading or supporting, please ask us today. You can write your questions to all participants in the chat room. So, Again, my name is Samantha Kolopak, and I am a knowledge broker on the workplace file primarily. I disseminate knowledge to other organizations and businesses in order to raise awareness about the standard for psychological health and safety in the workplace. So promoting mental health in the workplace is very important, and I employ different knowledge exchange activities and tactics to drive the uptake of this for organizations. So for example, you can check out our video testimonials online, where I've actually interviewed senior leadership, HR, and employees to get a sense of the workplace culture since implementing the standard and promoting mental health in the workplace. These videos are also corresponding along with our monthly webinar series, which is similar to the one I spoke to on the suicide prevention model, but we do these on the last Wednesday of every month. And these are for the public as well as key stakeholders who want to learn more about what the standard has to offer, and also to provide more linkages to tools and resources as an employer. So I also help to organize large events. I host roundtables. I do stakeholder relations every day, and I continue to work on effective partnerships and build new ones. So my work, I think, helps to actually showcase organizational leaders in the field, and as well as sharing those promising practices. And obviously the workplace file, just like all of these initiatives, have a lot more information online, so please do check us out online. Great, so next we're going to talk with Nicholas for the recovery initiative as well as the mental health and the law.
Great. So Despina Papadopoulos is the knowledge broker who works on both of these files.
Hello, my name is Despina Papadopoulos, a knowledge broker, and I'll be addressing some of the activities that the Knowledge Exchange team and myself are currently supporting in around the Recovery Initiative and the Mental Health and Law portfolio. As a part of the mental health strategy, the recovery team has been working towards bringing the recovery movement to life. By engaging with diverse stakeholders, we hope to promote an ongoing dialogue on recovery and help to build momentum by promoting a declaration of commitment to recovery. We've currently launched our declaration of commitment to recovery on our webpage, and we encourage you to join the recovery movement by endorsing the declaration through an online signing page located on our website. Additionally, we are supporting in the development of Canadian recovery guidelines, and we're focusing our efforts on developing an online pan-Canadian inventory of recovery-oriented resources. We really appreciate the support of stakeholders like yourself who've already engaged with us and have provided us with recovery-oriented resources to include in our inventory that will be located on our webpage in late June. The KEC team and myself also works closely with leading experts in our mental health and law portfolio in order to showcase reports that address leading practices on police interactions with persons with a mental illness and research on trajectories of persons declared not criminally responsible on account of a mental disorder. We've also supported and participated in the Canadian Association of Police Chiefs Policing Conference on Mental Health and the Law, and we've used our mental health and law collaborative space as a platform to promote and encourage dialogue at the conference and on our website. To join the conversation and to learn more about these initiatives, please visit our website.
Excellent. So now we're going to move into the evaluation of the mental health strategy for Canada.
Hello, my name is Galin Cora, and I provide support in relation to the monitoring and evaluation component of the Knowledge Exchange Center. Apart from the evaluation of individual programs and projects implemented by various departments of the Mental Health Commission of Canada, recently, the Knowledge Exchange Center started the work in relation to the evaluation of the mental health strategy for Canada. The evaluation will be conducted during the 2014-2015 fiscal year. The purpose of the evaluation will be to assess the contribution of the various key initiatives undertaken by the Commission towards the goal of the mental health strategy for Canada, as well as to assess the level of uptake of the strategy by various federal, provincial, and territorial stakeholders. In terms of the proposed process for the completion of the evaluation, a few key aspects are worth mentioning. These include the creation of an internal working group which will provide direction in relation to the key questions and aspects of the evaluation. The engagement of both internal and external stakeholders at different stages during the course of evaluation, who will serve both as sources of information as well as providing input, direction, and suggestions in relation to specific evaluation aspects, and that the evaluation will build on the performance measurement framework which is already prepared in relation to the mental health strategy for Canada. The results of the evaluation, including key findings and recommendations, will be shared with all the stakeholders at the end of the process.
So that's a look at sort of what we are supporting, and what we want to do now in this presentation is look at the work that we've been wrapping up and our past projects. So on your screen, you will see lots of examples of some of the previous projects that the KEC Knowledge Exchange Center has led or supported. So Nicholas, how about we talk a little bit about the former advisory committees and how they've been transitioned.
When the MHCC first launched, many of our projects were managed by mental health experts in one of 8 fields, including child and youth, First Nations and Inuit and Métis, seniors, and so on. Recently, the MHCC has shifted our focus to the key priority areas we have discussed earlier today: suicide prevention, workplace, housing and homelessness, and anti-stigma, all under the umbrella of the Mental Health Strategy for Canada. As a result of this, in January 2013, the KEC led the transitions of our 8 advisory committees into 2 bodies, the Advisory Council, which I spoke about earlier, and the Network of Ambassadors that work hand in hand with the Knowledge Exchange Center.
Excellent. So many of these projects have actually led to the development of key frameworks, tools, and guidelines. And I'm wondering if you can speak to our work with stakeholders who've been involved in all this work.
As you said, Sam, we have worked with so many different stakeholders on our work to improve mental health across Canada, including persons with lived experience, clinicians, healthcare providers, researchers, and there's many more. We'd like to really acknowledge the efforts of all of those stakeholders that we've worked with and who have given so much of their time and expertise on our former advisory committee projects. We really couldn't have done it without you. And congratulations to all of them for so much great research.
Fantastic. So also we wanted to go through actually an example of one of the frameworks. They're actually guidelines, and that's through the work that's being taken on by Benita, one of our knowledge brokers, Benita Varga.
Hi, I'm Benita Varga, knowledge broker with the KEC. One area that I provide knowledge exchange support on is the Family Caregiver Guidelines, which is a former advisory committee initiative. The primary function of the advisory committees was to conduct project work that supported the creation of a national mental health strategy. The Family Caregiver project was transitioned from the advisory committee model to a KEC project that worked with a smaller ad hoc working group. Currently, the project is advised by 4 very engaged advocates on the issue. This group, along with the KEC and outside consultants, worked together to develop the Family Caregiver Guidelines that were released in June 2013. Those guidelines provide caregivers of all ages with evidence-based best practices and anecdotal advice about providing care to a family member with mental illness. The KEC continues to work with the Family Caregiver Working Group on the Knowledge Exchange Plan that was developed to accompany the guidelines. The primary objective of that plan is to develop a toolkit to help service providers and policymakers engage with and implement the recommendations outlined in the guidelines. The toolkit will include a planning guide, adaptable presentations, facilitator and discussion guides, as well as case studies. We plan to pilot the toolkit in the fall of 2014 so that we can collect feedback and incorporate it into the final version. A full launch will take place in early 2015, accompanied by a webinar on using the toolkit. The KEC will also use social media and MHCC networks to promote it.
So now we would like to turn everyone's attention to the work that we've been doing.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Balfour, and I am a research analyst with the KEC. I have conducted numerous literature searches and environmental scans resulting in knowledge that has been used to inform and support various projects at MHCC. These projects have been extremely unique. For example, I conducted an international scan that focused on evaluations of national mental health strategies. I have also conducted research on evidence-based suicide prevention programs and trainings across Canada. In addition to that, I collaborated with the recovery team to do research displaying the landscape of recovery in Canada, and most recently I conducted an environmental scan that reviewed and further examined mental health and mental illness indicators for the data project. I thoroughly enjoy my role in the KEC and have been extremely fortunate to collaborate with so many different individuals and teams.
What I would like to just mention to everyone here is that we did get a question on whether or not we can actually get digital copies of any of the projects that we've been talking to today, and that's an emphatic yes. They are all on our website, and thanks so much to Lori for providing the link to the Family Caregiver Guidelines before. In some cases, print versions may be available still, so if you would like a print version, you can always contact myself. My contact information will be on the screen at the end of the presentation. So now we're going to turn to the creative support for the KEC.
Hi, I'm Lori Hager, and I lend a creative eye to the background workings of the KEC. My work is different every day, and I support all 15 of my fellow team members in various ways. I've designed and developed documents and processes over the past 3 years that have helped change the face of the KEC and to record its history. Internally, the KEC champions mental health in the workplace, and one of the initiatives that I have led is called Music as Wellness. We have brought this commission-wide for the past 2 quarters, and we look forward to following it up in the next few. The KEC has taken on many different incarnations, and we all look forward to the work that we can do to improve mental health across Canada.
So before we move to the questions portion, I just wanted to remind everyone that, again, our presentation today will be posted on our website, and we'll hopefully actually try and incorporate some of these audio clips as well so that you can hear those, because unfortunately our technology just didn't work out the way we planned. We will turn to the questions portion of the day. And perhaps what I'll start off first, Nicholas, with is a question that we received on knowledge exchange. And earlier you provided a really great definition on knowledge exchange and what we've sort of taken on and embraced in the KEC. But I'm wondering if you could answer why we have so many different terms for the word knowledge exchange.
It's a great question, Sam. It's one of the things that it becomes very difficult for people who are either learning about knowledge exchange principles or even in the field. There's some work done in the U.S. that actually has identified over 130 terms that have something to do with knowledge exchange. So knowledge exchange, knowledge translation, implementation science, knowledge mobilization, the list really does go on. What I guess I would say around that is that we should be focused less on the actual term and more on the principles that knowledge exchange is about. And so in the earlier slide, when I defined in some of the also principles about stakeholder engagement, I think the field really needs to focus in on that, because it really does become quite confusing when we have so many different terms and we have so many things that really relate to what are really just the key principles of knowledge exchange. So I guess to kind of summarize that, it's focus less on the terms and focus more on the principles and practices.
Excellent. We also have received a few questions actually on Spark, and I was wondering if we could talk a little bit about what this workshop entails. I know we have a lot of Sparkies online, and they're following us along on the website today. So I'm wondering if we could go over a couple of the details of Spark, and I know it's in its third year this year?
Yeah, so Spark is in its third year. The first year I was hosted in St. John's, Newfoundland in 2012. Last year it was hosted in Victoria, BC in 2013. It was also successfully replicated in New Zealand in 2013. It will be in Winnipeg next month. As well, it will be replicated in Sweden. So the Spark Training Institute, which long name is Supporting the Promotion of Activated Research and Knowledge, is a training institute to learn how to conduct and build knowledge exchange plans. So it starts with a 2-day workshop that's based on adult learning principles that takes you through each stage of our Innovation to Implementation Handbook, which I showed earlier, and basically teaches you how to build a knowledge exchange plan that's around a specific program, product, idea, solution that a participant has brought forward before the workshop. And so it is an application-based workshop. So we usually have over 100 applications each year, and we let in between 36 and 40. So those that are coming have to fill out the application form that goes over what their plan is, what stage they're in, what type of organizational support they have. And then, as I said, we have some criteria and evaluation around that, and then usually about 36 to 40 will be let in. So the workshop is really just the start. After this workshop, people will have a draft plan, but then it's really built on mentorship afterwards. And so you'll be working with your mentor for the months following to finalize your plan. And there will also be a few opportunities for feedback and hearing from other participants to how to strengthen your plan. And then it follows up with a lot of one-on-one conversations and mentoring to ensure that people really feel successful about implementing their knowledge exchange plan.
Great. I was also wondering if we could talk a little bit more in detail about the Collaborative Spaces initiative, since it's one of the new ones that we really released in the last, I would say, since the fall?
Collaborative Spaces were launched in October, and it's really an opportunity and a place to hold mental health discussions across Canada and abroad. If you go on the Collaborative Spaces, you'll see that they're thematically defined. For example, suicide prevention, workplace mental health, stigma, and I believe that Lori has put on the website the link to the Collaborative Spaces. But it's an opportunity for mental health stakeholders to really actively engage, and not only the work of the Commission, because you can do that through our social media platforms and our website, but really the other organizations and people working in mental health. For example, an article may be posted around a new stigma reduction technique that others don't know about, so it's an opportunity to take that take that article and bring it back to their home setting. Collaborative Spaces is only growing in time, and the more people that post on it, and the more information and more articles and more discussion that gets generated, it really only benefits the community as a whole. It really is about an opportunity of connecting really the large Canadian landscape and all those diverse people working in mental health.
That's excellent. I think that it is a really great way to start the dialogue, and we have been getting so much traction. I feel like we have 1,000 people now signed up, and that's just fantastic. So it is moderated by our very own Dave Walker, and if you have any more questions on that, you can definitely write to me, and I can connect you back to our Collaborative Spaces initiative. So next we're going to turn to a question that we've had on international leadership. So Nicholas, I'm wondering if you could speak to us a little bit about the international leadership that's been shown through the Commission throughout the years, and maybe you can talk a little bit about the work that you'll be doing next month in Sweden.
Great. And quickly before I answer that question, I did just want to add one last thing about Spark that I did miss, and I see a question about that. Spark is a fully funded workshop, and so if the 36 individuals that are accepted, the expenses are paid for those people. So I just wanted to highlight that, because one of the things we recognize in knowledge exchange is that organizations and individuals can't always fund knowledge exchange teams, and we're very lucky at the Commission to have such a large team. So that's just something that I wanted to add in, that if you are interested in applying but thought there would be financial barriers, that won't be the case. So moving on to the international work, the Commission has done a lot of international work since its inception. But it's really not just about the Commission showcasing the tools and products that we have, such as the National Standard or the Innovation to Implementation Workbook or the Stigma work and the Housing and Homelessness work. The list really does go on. But the real benefit of the work that we've been able to do internationally is also learn some of the best practices from other countries doing really fantastic work. And speaking from a knowledge exchange perspective, there's countries like the Great Britain, the United States, Australia, and New Zealand that are doing some really fantastic work, and so we really want to benefit from an international perspective on knowledge exchange and not just learn from what people are doing in Canada. And so the International Initiative on Mental Health Leadership which helps create the International Knowledge Exchange Network for Mental Health is really about sharing those best practices. But it's not always about what works. Some of the most interesting learnings that I find are really from things that haven't worked in the past, and the reasons for that. And so an upcoming meeting in June in Sweden will really be about not only showcasing some things that have worked from a Canadian context and internationally, but it's really what hasn't worked. And I think that's something that sometimes people are really afraid to go deep into, and I think it's really what we need to start doing, because that way we can use all of the funds better and really work together meaningfully.
Excellent. I did also receive a question here that I think I'll speak to, and that's what's being done specifically for young employees and in looking at challenges that they experience, and also to help healthier workplace environments for them. So in general, I would say that the national standard is an excellent tool for employers to use to make sure that their workplace is psychologically healthy and safe. As I mentioned, I do run a monthly webinar on the standard, and the next month's webinar is actually next week, so hopefully you can join us for that. We'll be talking about the 13 psychosocial factors. And so that's another way that employers can be looking at the different challenges within their workplace. And absolutely, there are specific challenges for young employees, and as well as various different target groups within a workplace. We also have done work called the Aspiring Workforce, so please check that out online. And we've also just launched a 3-year case study research project with various different employers who are being showcased, and we are trying to collect information on how they're implementing the standard. So definitely stay tuned for more information on that.
And I just want to mention that today on our website you'll be able to find our Knowledge Exchange Center Interim Report. So this is really just a highlight of all the great work we're doing, but it doesn't go into detail. And so if you're really looking for some detailed information on all of the work the Knowledge Exchange Center has done over the last few years, you'll be able to find that in this report. Because as Meg Schellenberg has mentioned, there's other work that hasn't been discussed today, like e-mental health. And next week we'll be launching a briefing paper on that topic, which drew on many national and international models and best practices. So if there are things that aren't highlighted today, they will be found in that report.
Fantastic. So is there anything else that you wanted to add, Nicholas, before we start looking at closing today's session?
I think it's really that you can participate in the work of the Commission through various means. If it's through our collaborative spaces, if it's participating actively on our social media channels, if it's being part of webinars that we host both nationally and internationally. It's even just reaching out to the individual knowledge brokers that are working on the files and asking them some specific questions. And so I see some fantastic chat going on in the chat box, and I mean, they really are the experts in the field. And so the work that the Knowledge Exchange Center has been able to do over the last few years is really because of the fantastic staff that we have here. We have experts that have been working in Knowledge Exchange for a while, and the one thing that, or really just have the right principles to be working in Exchange. The one piece that I did want to highlight is that Knowledge Exchange is really a diverse background. There hasn't been historically schools to go to Knowledge Exchange school, and so it's really just learning about the key principles of Knowledge Exchange. And so I know that I've spoken with a lot of people over the last couple of years that just wanted to learn more, and feel free to to contact me or any one of the brokers to do that.
So we're going to move now into just a few closing remarks. And Nicholas, perhaps you can walk us through some of these.
Great. I have mentioned a couple, but I do want to highlight that the Mental Health Commission has really supported the idea of knowledge exchange. And we're not only the largest team here at the Commission, but we're also Canada's only national mental health knowledge exchange center. We have 16 individuals, and that's really unique. That really shows the dedication to not only pushing information out, but also actively engaging stakeholders and ensuring that our work just doesn't sit on a shelf. Most knowledge exchange teams are 1 or 2 people. I came from a previous organization where I ran communications and knowledge exchange, and that was only 1 person. So we are very lucky to have a team of experts. But we don't only rely on the work that we're doing here. There are great other knowledge exchange centers in Canada that are doing some fantastic work that we also rely on. And so I think it's really about connecting the community more. And I think the last kind of piece, I guess, is, and because I've highlighted the work that's been done in Canada and abroad, it's really that we're lucky that we are garnering some international and national attention, but that's really beneficial only if we can be bringing in best and promising practices from those countries as well.
Awesome. So yeah, it's looking like we have gained quite a lot of national, international attention, as you said. We are excited for the next sort of work that needs to be done, because there obviously needs to be a lot more work in the area of mental health, but it's exciting to see how much has already been done so far. It looks like lots of you are answering our poll question on whether or not you have learned something new today. I would also remind everybody to go to our website for more information on any of our MHCC webinars or workplace mental health, suicide prevention, or different areas that we spoke on today, the collaborative spaces. So yeah, definitely check out our website. So just a reminder about the ways you can join the conversation. That's through collaborative spaces. It's brand new, and we hope that you'll join us. There are definitely different spaces that will be of interest to you, and that's where, again, you can add content, events, chat about different news, and we hope that you will join us. So I'd like to just say thank you so much to everyone. I'm just going to close this last poll here. It looks like so many of you have answered and said that you have indeed learned something new. I think many of our stakeholders mentioned to us that they wanted us to talk on what the Knowledge Exchange Center is all about, what we do, and we get that kind of question all the time. Having a unique title as a knowledge broker, many of us get questions. So it's so fantastic that we were able to be with you today. I'd like to thank everyone for their participation through the Knowledge Exchange Center for submitting your content and just helping everyone understand a little piece of what we do. So thank you so much for being an excellent audience and joining us today. Hopefully we met our objectives and shared our work that's aimed at advancing the Mental Health Commission's work and the fact that we collaborate, work with various different stakeholders, and share best practices. So again, this PowerPoint presentation will be posted as a PDF for free on our website in both English and French. And then the English recording of today's webinar will also be available in the next month. So please do stay tuned for other events that are happening for the Commission. Definitely check out the Interim Report, because we just launched that simultaneously with our webinar today. And thank you so much for your participation. We hope that everyone has a fantastic day. I see Nicholas is smiling here because I think we definitely met our goal today. Have a great one.